So where did you go to college?
The Leland Stanford Junior University in Palo Alto, California.
What did you get your degree in?
Mechanical engineering.
Did you like it?
I love mechanical engineering.
What did you pursue for your career?
Mechanical engineering.
Nice. What's your current profession?
I'm a mechanical engineer.
What city do you live in?
Irvine, California.
And how long have you been meeting in the local churches?
45 years.
Why do you call yourselves the Lord's Recovery?
Because the Lord needs a recovery. If you look throughout the Bible, everything falls into the degradation. Everything gets old. As Christians, we get degraded. Our way of approaching the Lord gets degraded, and so it needs to be recovered. You read the Old Testament. It's the children of Israel getting degraded and getting recovered, degraded and recovered. So I like the term recovery because the Lord is recovering so many things. Recovering truths, recovering reality, recovering the experience of Christ, I think is lacking among Christians. I don't say it as a condemnation. It was certainly lacking for me when I first met this group of Christians, and it really renewed and refreshed my love for the Lord.
Why do you meet with the local churches?
Actually, one of the main reasons is I came here, wasn't exactly my style. The Lord clearly told me. The Lord spoke to me a lot when I first got saved. After my years in college, I'd gotten degraded. When the Lord brought me to meet with his recovery, I was pretty dead. So the Lord breathed some life into me and started speaking to me more again, freshly. He said, I'm meeting here with these saints. And I said, okay, but I can still go to the church of my choice. And so I did. I would go to other places, and eventually they fell off when the Lord made it very clear. The Lord would speak to me. In one place he said, never come here again to worship me. That's an insult to me. And at first I said, you don't love these people? He said, I love these people very much, but this is not the way to worship me. Meet with the local churches, and that's where my presence is. That's where I want you to be.
Why do you think people call the local churches a cult?
Well, first of all, it's completely different from Christianity. I wanted to be a missionary to China. I don't know what I would have brought there. I wasn't doing that well. I did learn a little Chinese. I came to this group and I thought it's not the same. I'm from Southern California. Pastors wear Hawaiian shirts. We have rock bands as warm up. There's a certain protocol we follow here in SoCal. But I realized if I was going to go to China, I couldn't bring that. That has a totally SoCal flavor to it. People come here and they go, this isn't what I'm used to. And no matter where you are, it doesn't match SoCal flavor, it doesn't match any flavor you're going to get. So what matches is the Lord's flavor. I asked the Lord, who could like this place? And he said, I'll tell you who could like this place. I like this place. And so I like it, but it's going to be offensive to a lot of our being, but that doesn't mean I would check with the Lord. Lord, are you offended? And by the way, I found some things the Lord was offended with. 3 things that were clearly wrong, not evil, satanic things, but they were just not a right way to worship. This is very early on. And I told the Lord he would answer every question I had, but on these 3 things, the heavens turned to stone. The Lord was silent. I said, but these are wrong, right? Right? No answer. So I got the sense, let it go. So I let it go. 3 months later, the Lord came to me and he said, do you want to talk about those things? I said, absolutely, I want to talk about those things. Lace them up, pal. The Lord's my pal. And so I went, and all 3 were gone. All 3 were gone. He said, this is my recovery. My life will wash away every problem. Problems will come, problems will go. You are not the church police. It's not your job to bring the truth here. I am the truth. Let me work in my way and my time, and I will wash away all the problems. And so that was a real comfort to me that, even if there's things that disturb me, but a lot of people just see it and they go, that's weird. That's not what I'm used to. That's not what Christians do, because their experience of being a Christian is different. And sometimes things rise up. We kind of get some strange habits, first and foremost. But, they'll eventually the Lord's life will wash them away.
What does the phrase minister of the age mean to you?
That's a good question. The Lord has always had a minister of the age. Of course, Moses and Noah at his time, clearly he was the one. Moses got the vision of the tabernacle. We wouldn't know how the tabernacle would, how do you know how to put that together? You spend 80 days up on the mountain with the Lord, getting infused with the vision. And David at his time was the minister of the age. Then in the New Testament, we got, of course, the Lord, and then Peter, and then Paul, and then John. Eventually, there's always one person the Lord uses to release his burden. He gives the vision. The minister of the age has the vision of the age. And it's not a title, it's not something someone pursues, but eventually, in retrospect, it's easy to see. Watchman Nee, starting in 1922, had a vision that when I first read his writings, I thought, who is this person? This person really knows the Lord. And then when I got introduced to Witness Lee, and I'm pointing to them as ministers of the age in this age, and I never really liked Witness Lee's preaching very much. Sorry to say, that's an indictment on me, but I just thought, it's not that interesting. I like something a little more dynamic. But one time I was listening to a radio preacher who I really liked, and after the show finished, the Lord said, what do you think of that guy? I said, I love him. Fascinating. Just numerology, all kinds of fascinating things about the Bible. He said, okay, how is your heart toward me? I said, what? He said, how's your heart toward me? I go, I don't know. I'm just fascinated by all these things. He goes, okay. He said, what about Witness Lee? I said, not a fan. He said, okay. After you listen to a message by Witness Lee, what is your status? And I said, I always love you, Lord, more. I love you more. Every time I hear Witness Lee, I love you more. He said, what about Witness Lee? I said, I don't love him more. He goes, pay attention to that. Whatever makes you love me more, pay attention to that. Spend your time there. So I listened to the ministry of Witness Lee. I always love the Lord more. I don't love him more. We don't worship a man, of course, well, except the man, Jesus. But I can tell you, every time that brother speaks, he's so thorough with the Lord. He ministers life. My love for the Lord increases. And so, yeah, in my estimation, he is the minister of the age. He ministers Christ unlike any other I've ever been in contact with. And I'm very grateful to the Lord for his ministry.
Why do you think the group emphasizes so much the ministry of Watchman Nee and Witness Lee?
I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm empirical. The evidence proves that when you touch the ministry of Watchman Nee and Witness Lee, you get life. And the Lord said, I came that they may have life and may have it abundantly. John 10:10b, got a little song if you want to hear. And so when you touch the ministry of Watchman Nee and Witness Lee, you get life. And I've never found anyone remotely close to that.
That's all.